You are 36. There is $259,000 in your account. Your brother Cole runs the same kind of crew you do. Same city, same money. Cole has $9,000 and a truck he still owes $26,000 on. The difference is not the work. The difference is not the brakes. The difference is a silver Honda Civic and 10 years of people deciding what it said about you. This is your life driving the same car for 10 years. You are 26. It is a Saturday in May, Knoxville. A used lot off Clinton Highway, the kind with a inflatable tube man that has given up halfway. Your old truck threw a rod on the interstate 2 weeks ago, and the tow alone cost more than it was worth. You are an HVAC tech. You make $41,000 a year. You have $11,000 saved and a quiet feeling that this next decision is bigger than it looks. A salesman named Dale meets you in the lot. Dale is heavy, friendly, wears a polo with the company logo peeling at the corner. He calls you Chief. He walks you past the lifted trucks, past a Charger with a sticker price that makes him pause for effect. He stops at a 2012 Honda Civic. Silver, cloth seats, 58,000 miles. A scuff on the back bumper he calls a love tap. You sit inside. The seat is firm. The AC is cold. The check engine light is off. Nothing about this car will turn a single head on your street. You say how much. Dale says $8,200. Drive it home today. You pay cash. You count it out on the hood. Dale stops calling you Chief somewhere around the 5,000. You drive home on Kingston Pike with the windows down because it is May and the radio still works. That night, you sit at the kitchen table. You do the math on the back of an envelope. $400 a month. The money you are not handing a bank every month for a truck. You run it out 10 years at a normal return. The number that comes back is large enough that you read it twice. $69,000. You write it on a yellow sticky note. You press the note to the inside of the sun visor. You flip the visor up. You forget it is there for a while. 2 weeks later, you have breakfast with your uncle Hollis. Hollis is 67. He wrote car loans at a dealership for 30 years before his knees retired him. He does not give advice. He eats his eggs and waits to be asked. You tell him you bought a used Civic. You wait for him to say, "Good deal." He does not. He chews. He swallows. He says, "You know what I actually sold for 30 years?" You say, "Cars." Hollis shakes his head. He says, "I sold men the version of themselves they were trying to become. They'd drive him off the lot on a Tuesday. Then they'd spend 6 years paying interest on a guy who never showed up." You laugh. Hollis does not. He wipes his mouth. He says, "The Civic is the first time you didn't borrow against somebody you weren't yet." You don't know what to say. You don't know yet that this is the most important sentence anyone will say to you for a decade. You are 28. The Civic has 81,000 miles. The driver door takes a second pull on cold mornings. You know the trick. A coworker named Cody parks his financed Silverado next to it on the job site. Cody is 25. Cody owes 7 years on a truck he has had for 8 months. Cody looks at the Civic. He says, "Bro, is that yours?" You say, "Yes." He says, "Did your other car die or did you give up?" "Both," you say. He laughs. He thinks you are joking. That weekend, Cole calls. Cole is your younger brother. He is 24. He says, "I got a truck." You ask what kind. He says, "A new Ram, financing, $640 a month, basically free." You drive to his place. The Ram sits in the lot like it is posing for something. Cole walks around it the way men walk around things they are still trying to deserve. His phone buzzes in his pocket. He glances at it. Something crosses his face. He puts it away without answering. You don't ask. You go home. The account that month sits at $16,000. You don't tell anyone. You don't know how you'd even start the sentence. You are 30. The Civic has 109,000 miles. There is a hum from the front end you have decided to live with. A woman named Marisol works in billing at your company. She is 51. She drives a paid-off Camry. One morning in the lot, she touches your arm. She says, "Honey, are you doing okay?" You say you're fine. She says, "If you ever need to hold something over until payday, you come to me. No shame in it." You smile. You say thank you. You have 90-some thousand dollars in a brokerage account. You cannot say that. It would sound like a lie or a cruelty. At lunch, two guys from the install team don't see you behind the partition. One says, "Did you see what he still drives?" The other says, "I feel bad for him, man. He works harder than anybody." The first one says, "Maybe he's sending money home." You eat at your truck. You sit in the Civic for a full minute before you start it. You are not broke. You are not behind. But the pity gets under the skin in a way the mockery never did. You turn the key. The Civic catches on the first try. You are 32. The Civic has 138,000 miles. Her name is Lauren. You have been together a year. Lauren is a dental hygienist. She drives an old CRV and has never once said a word about your car. In June, there is a wedding at a barn venue outside Sevierville. You drive Lauren in the Civic. She holds her dress so it doesn't catch the seatbelt. You park in the back row between a Tahoe and a Wrangler with a snorkel it has never used. Cole arrives in a new truck, a different one, bigger than the Ram, lifted, matte gray. Lauren watches it pull in. She is not unkind. She says, "Wow, Cole's really doing well, isn't he?" You stop walking. She is not trying to hurt you. She is making an observation. That is what makes it land. You say, "Yeah, he's doing well." Cole hugs you at the reception. He smells like cologne that costs more than your monthly grocery run. His phone buzzes inside his jacket. He does not check it. A muscle moves near his eye. He says, "Man, you gotta upgrade. Just once. You'll feel different." You say, "Maybe." That night, Lauren is quiet on the drive home. Halfway back, she says, "I just want you to enjoy what you've earned. That's all." You drop her off. You drive home alone. You sit on the couch at 1 in the morning. You open a car app on your phone. You scroll. A certified truck, 2 years old, $690 a month, approved in minutes. Your thumb hovers over the button. You think about Cole's cologne. You think about Lauren's face in the parking lot. You think about Hollis and the man who never showed up. You close the app. You sit in the dark for 20 minutes. You go to the kitchen. You pull a chair to the counter. The account is at 165,000. You look at it a long time. You almost broke tonight. You didn't. You don't know yet that this was the closest you ever came. You are 34. The Civic has 171,000 miles. A Tuesday in February, 6 in the morning, 19 degrees. You turn the key. Nothing. You turn it again. A click. Silence. The battery is dead. You sit in the cold for 30 seconds. You do not panic. You have done versions of this before. You call roadside. The driver shows up in 20 minutes. His name patch says Reyes. He is maybe 28, beard, a gas station coffee in the cup holder. He clamps the cables. He looks at the Civic. He looks at you. He says, "How long you had her?" You say, 8 years. Reyes stops moving. He says, 8 years, same car? You say yes. He shakes his head and smiles. He says, "My old man drove an Accord for 16. Everybody at his shop thought he was broke. He paid for my sister's wedding in cash and never said a word about it." He turns the key. The engine coughs, catches, holds. He says, "Keep her alive, man." He drives off. You sit there while the heater finds itself. You don't put it in gear for a minute. Something moved. You can't name it yet. That Saturday, a gas station off North Shore. An older man at the next pump is filling a clean, old pickup. He nods at the Civic. He says, "That a 12?" You say yes. He says, "My daughter put $200,000 on hers, bought her house with what she didn't spend on car notes." He caps his tank. He says, "Smart machine to keep." He drives away. You stand there holding the pump. He is not driving that pickup because he has to. That night, you flip down the visor. The sticky note is faded, but you can still read it. 69,000. The account passed that number 2 years ago. You put in more than the note ever promised. You leave the visor down. You are 36. The Civic has 198,000 miles. A Friday in March. You are at a light when you hear it. A grind, then a hiss, then quiet. You coast into a lot. A mechanic looks at it for an hour and comes out wiping his hands. He says, "Head gasket. $2,800 to do it right." Honestly, on this one, I wouldn't. You sit on the bench outside. The sun is warm. You are not sad. You open your phone. The account reads $259,000. You look at it the way you look at something that has stopped surprising you and just become true. That afternoon, Hollis calls. He is 77 now, retired all the way. He says, "Your daddy told me the Civic finally quit." You ask how he always knows. He says, "Do you remember what I told you at breakfast 10 years ago?" You say every word. Hollis laughs, soft. He says, "Most men spend their whole lives borrowing against who they're trying to become. You're the only one I ever met who just waited for him. And when he showed up, you let him decide." He says, "You didn't save money, son. You bought yourself back." He hangs up. That evening, you drive to a lot 10 minutes from your place. Not Dale's lot, a cleaner one. A kid in a vest tries to walk you toward the new ones. You stop at a 2021 Civic, silver, 34,000 miles, $14,800. He starts talking financing, very competitive rates. You say cash. He recalibrates. You pay. You drive it home. The AC is cold. The doors close on the first pull. It does exactly what a car is supposed to do. Nothing more. Your phone buzzes in the driveway. A text from Cole. It says, "Can we talk? I'm in a bad spot." You read it twice. You text back. You say, "Come over." Cole arrives at 9. He is 33. He looks older than that tonight. He sits on your couch. He says, "I owe $29,000. 2 cards, the truck, a loan I took to cover the other loan." You make him coffee. You sit across from him. He says, "How did you do it? Be honest." You think about Dale and the inflatable man. You think about Cody on the job site. You think about Marisol's hand on your arm. You think about Reyes and the Accord, the man at the pump, Lauren in the parking lot, Hollis and the man who never showed up. You say, "I stopped borrowing against the guy I was trying to be." Cole doesn't understand. One day he will. You drive him home in the new Civic. The radio works. The heater works. The car does what cars do. You park in your driveway at midnight. You sit for a minute. You flip down the visor. There's no note here, just smooth gray plastic. You moved it over from the old car this afternoon anyway, the faded sticky, and you press it to the inside of the new visor, where it has always belonged. Every person who looked at that car for 10 years saw a Civic, a cheap one, a man who maybe couldn't do better. They were all reading the wrong thing. The car was never the answer. The car was the question. The question was never, what should you drive? The question was, who are you when nobody is impressed? For 10 years, you answered it the same way, on a Tuesday morning, alone, with a turn of a key. Maybe you're the one driving the same car for 10 years. Maybe you're the one secretly afraid you should be. Maybe you're Cole. Either way, there's a question idling in your driveway right now, and it's been there the whole time. If you want to see what the next 10 years look like, once you stop borrowing against a man who hasn't shown up yet, subscribe and drive safe.